So it's Christmas time and the Advent wreath that goes outside has lights on it, just lights that we put around ourselves. And obviously, because these lights are normally inside lights and they're out in the UK weather, they get a lot of rain in them, snow, frost and all the rest of it. So I've just put batteries in this now, and this one I have got to work, but it's a little bit dim and you have to kind of wiggle it around to get it brighter. You can see there, the switch. This one now, let's turn that one off, is very hit and miss. So at the moment you can see there, if you have a look down here you can see lights, but then and now they're gone. Wiggle it and they come back on again. So what's happened is we've just got rust in the switches. So I'm going to get some IPA, which is 99.9% alcohol, and that's safe to put in there, and I'm just going to keep putting the switch on and off, and then hopefully that will solve the problem and I'll get another year or more out of it. So this is what I'm using. So I've just got a little cotton bud. Here. And I'm just going to start to just pour it in there. And the other side. And now I'm just going to keep turning that on and off. And hopefully that will wipe the rust away. You can already see it's working consistently now. Okay, but just going to do it a few more times because there is quite a build up in there. Now this is safe to use because it just evaporates off. Right, there we go, what a nice simple fix. So now if you have a look at that one, you can see that they're lighting up there. And this one. So obviously it would make sense to get proper outdoor lights, but those sort of lights there only cost a couple of UK pounds, so they're not expensive. And they're only batteries, so there's no risk of there's no risk of shock or anything. The only thing is that they're going to fail because they're outside and not waterproof. So originally we did have them in bags, but what happened was it was hard to waterproof the bags, and then the water ends up collecting in the bags, and then this is actually doused in water. So what we now do is just put them underneath, and then most of the rain doesn't hit them. And if I have to do that every single year, it's not such a big deal for me. So there we go, happy with that. Let's move on to another one. Here we have a Tamiya Grasshopper, and the issue with this is that basically just through numerous crashes that this has completely come away from the motor itself. And I've just noticed that the motor is very, very loose. Okay, I never noticed that before. Let's see if we can just tighten up the motor at all. No, right, let me take the cover off. This hasn't been apart, I don't think, since it was built quite a few years ago now. This is one of the, well, it used to be, I think, the cheapest Tamiya kind of full-size car. I don't know if they're, I can't remember if they're 1/10. I think they're 1/10. Yeah, they are 1/10 scale, aren't they? So this one hasn't got a 540 motor, it's got a 380 motor, but good thing about that is it's only a very small car, and it means that the battery lasts for absolutely ages. But basically the wire feeding the motor has completely come away just because it got into a crash with another car a long time ago. And I've just put a screw in it, and basically the screw has kind of forced its way in and is actually making quite a reliable fix. But I thought I might as well just try to solder it, and if it doesn't work I can always go back to the screw. So I just want to find out why this motor here is so loose, because that's not very good. You can see it wobbling there. So I'm just going to take off this section here, hoping I'll be able to get to it. Right, so the motor's come out there now. Actually, do you know what? That will give us a good opportunity. Oh, look at that as well loose, just from all the movement. So we just have to tighten that up there, that's no problem. Excellent. Looks pretty dry in there as well. It doesn't look like there's any grease left. Right, so I don't know what is the best solution here. So I suppose we can just solder this on. Yeah, let's just try to solder it onto here and see what happens. So you can see originally it would have had a tab sticking out, and the tab's completely broken. trying to fill up the hole with solder. Right, that's good. Now we've got a nice lump in it, so hopefully this will stick to it now. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, do you know what? That's in pretty good. That is in pretty good. Right, okay, I've got my battery, I've got my transmitter. Let's see what's going to happen. So turn the transmitter on, turn this on. That doesn't sound very good at all. I am going to... Doesn't sound fast. I wonder whether I've put solder to... I wonder if the solder's actually dripped inside the motor. That would be a bit bad. Let me get it on the ground and have a look. It is actually working fine. It's just for some reason didn't sound very powerful, but when you start using it, it's the same as it always is. If you have a look now. See? Yeah, well, happy with that. Right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one again is an RC car here, and the problem with this one is that my son got it out and it would sync up and then it would work for about 10 seconds and then the controller would go off, you turn it back on, it would go back on again, sync for about 5 to 10 seconds and then go off. So obviously it's a battery issue, but what was interesting is I've already tested this out. I tested all the batteries because the last time we used this it was working absolutely fine. It didn't seem to be kind of like an issue with distance or anything like that. But if you have a look now, only one of the cells have failed. So this is quite useful to test your batteries because although it would be better to just replace them all, it's going to last longer, obviously that costs more money. Now look at this. If you put it on DC volts here, let's just do it where the thing's not shining on it, there we go. Now let me go across some more. Remember, these are not new batteries. So we've got, there you go, look at that. Yeah, and I'm fully on it. But now look at all the others. They're all about 1.4, so 1.46, so that's still going to work. They're a bit on the low side. Look, 1.45 and 1.46. So that's the reason this one here is causing the car to cut out. So it doesn't actually need a whole new set of batteries. What I'm going to do is throw that one away or recycle it. This one here is already a worn, well not a worn, it's already a used battery. So what I do is, like when the Christmas decorations and stuff come down, then I put all those batteries into a bag and then I use them for things like clocks and remote controls and stuff like that throughout the year that don't need a huge amount of energy. So if you see there, 1.47. So now this will work just by putting these in, and obviously it's not going to work as long as if you put brand new batteries in, but we've only replaced one cell instead of replacing all of them. Yeah, so it's well worth just testing out your batteries when you have a group of them. So if you had 4 or 8 batteries, don't assume that they're all faulty, especially if you haven't used it in a while. It might be just that one of the cells, whoops, it might be just that one of the cells have failed. Right, let's move on to something else. Okay, on this one we're going to be looking at this torch here. Now this was never really working very well. It's an LED one, and when it works it is very bright, but there was always a bit of an iffy connection. Sometimes you would have to kind of tighten it up a little bit or loosen it a bit to get it to work. Now my wife was using it outside and unfortunately it got kicked, and I've tried to put it back together but it's not working. And also I don't quite understand how it actually goes back together. I know it should be very simple. I'm wondering if I'm missing a part somewhere, because that bit in there is going to be the positive of the battery, that part there. But the negative of the battery is going to be on this one, and I'm not too sure how this travels all the way from here to the front. I'm thinking originally that that might have been soldered onto there or something. I don't quite know, but then this side here doesn't seem to be really making contact with anything at the front anyway, so I'm pretty sure that a piece has been lost somewhere. So when it came apart originally, this glass did pop out. Now it's plastic, not glass, so it hopefully won't smash. If I try to take it out, it just kind of pops back into place. There we go. Right, so we've got a little seal here. Now I'm just going to get my bench power supply on this just to make sure it lights up. So we're looking at 1.5 volts and 1.5 volts in series, so we're looking at 3 volts. So let's put my bench power supply, I'm going to put it to about 2.6. Let's just see if this is going to light up. Not sure what we have to actually connect to. Oh, look, it's that part of the board there. Right, okay, so that's what it was. Originally that was soldered onto there. That must have been how it was. Okay, that makes more sense now. But I'm not quite sure how this bit is supposed to contact the back. Because when you tighten this up, unless that lines up completely on that, which is unlikely, maybe that's why it was a bad connection, because it's designed for this to be in line with this here. Let's just see if that's going to be, if there's continuity between that bit and the spring. Now let's press the button. Yeah, so that's how it works. Right, okay. I don't really like that because it was intermittent before. I think I'm going to solder a wire from here to the very front bit, this part of the board, that part of the board there. So now let's just go between here and here. There we go. Right, that makes sense now. Okay, so it's going to be slightly harder to change batteries in the future because you're going to have to dodge this wire, but I think it's going to be a better connection if I do that. So, and I'm going to leave plenty of slack on the wire so this lid can come completely off, so you can have access to the battery nice and easily. Well, I'm going to put a nice lump of solder on this little part in here. That back through here now. I'm going to put the seal back in. And the plastic. Right, so I'm thinking if I put it around here, that's going to be absolutely plenty. Right, okay, so now, hopefully, this will be working again. Now, it's definitely going to be more hassle when it comes to changing the batteries out, but because it's a torch and it's rarely used, then there we go. The batteries won't be getting changed out very often. Right, that is definitely working reliably now, like you would expect it to, because it's just a solid wire instead of relying on this to make the link between both of them. I'm just going to see if it's possible to change the batteries or whether it's going to be really hard. Right, that's one. Okay, yeah, so you have to give it a shake, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Bit of a bodge, but it's going to work reliably. And the only hassle is going to be when you change your batteries, but that isn't really much of a headache, is it? Excellent, right, let's move on to the next one.